This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Welcome to the 25th episode of the Deployment Dojo. This is a live show where we introduce and discuss software installation techniques using the WiX Toolset. I'm your host, Rob Mensching, and joining me once again is my very good friend and first student of the dojo, David Edson. David, how are you doing?
Hi, pretty good.
Oh, we have 1 week left, and then it's WiX 4 RTM Day.
Nice.
Can you believe that? Oh, I can't. I'm so excited. But there's still a lot of work to do. All right. What are we doing today? Today, we're going to bring in another resource type, another thing. And this seems to be something that every Windows developer wants to create, even though probably nobody should. And so I'm going to add one because, well, they're fun to create and they're fun to add and play with, even though hopefully your application does not have them. So before we go on, Miyoki and Bert, welcome. Great to have you. We are creating a Windows service today, David. Do you know what a Windows service is?
Yeah, I haven't really created them much, but I do know what they are.
All right, well, I'm not going to create one in the stream, but I'm going to show you what the dev team created for us in the last week.
Sure.
And then our task, as always, should we choose to accept it, and we will, is to install that service. Because services take a little bit of extra effort to install. Although
Okay.
I think after what we did with the shortcut, it's going to be nothing. So let's go ahead and get right into the first kata. Here we go. All right, we're gonna pick up our belt test. Now, usually I would start by, we'll bring this up here a little bit. All right, Visual Studio opening, thank you. I would start by creating a bunch of pieces. Let's see, did I lose something? Nope, all right, sorry, things are beeping. All right, cool. Normally we start by updating our version, things like that. So I think we probably should do that, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Our build command, we come in here and we change it to 25. Oh, and we need to change our branch to new branch to episode 25, right?
Right.
Okay. And bring the changes. Yes, bring the changes to that. Continue to check out. All right. Did it bring it forward? Good, good, good. All right, now, what did the dev team do? Let's go ahead and bring their code in. So I'm gonna add this existing project that I've pulled down. Hey, Martin's joined us a little late, no problem, Martin. Great that you're here. And here's our Windows service that the dev team has implemented for us. So just like our console app and our forums app, we now have a service app. We'll take a look at the code in a little bit. I wanna kind of get ourselves situated and get all of our changes set to go. All right, I think that's everything we need, right? That's what we would make to get started. So let's go ahead and stage all of our changes. Our solution has a new project as part of it in this really funky format. And our build command has episode 25 as the first thing. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and do, what do I usually say? At your service, installing a Windows service. All right. I think that's the title of the show today. There we
Yes.
go. Now we're ready. We have brought into code. We have the Windows service. What does it do? It does very little, and that's on purpose because it's not a lot about what we do, what the app does. It's all about how we install it. So this code will end up on the Deployment Dojo GitHub that we will look at the end of the episode. But just kind of real quick, services have a start and a stop to them, and you can do so through the Services Control Manager, all built into Windows. They run in the background while Windows is doing its thing. These things could be doing their thing. all while they're running, and users can go in and start and stop them. So on start, we're going to update this file. And on stop, we're going to update this file. And then at the very beginning, I created this little timer. And when this little timer starts during start, and it stops on stop, every time it just says, hey, I'm running, and it has this count that it does. And then what does it do? It go ahead and attempts to write to this file. So essentially it just writes this one single line to the text file over and over and over.
Okay.
And it keeps counting. So essentially what does it do? It's a way of us telling that it started, that it's running, and that it's stopped. That's it. Not terribly interesting, but it's going to be great for demo purposes for us to be able to look at things and see them. And oh, by the way, it creates its file by default next to wherever the exe is installed to, and it will call it Windows Service 1.txt. That's hopefully not terribly surprising given that the thing is called Windows Service, right?
Right.
All right. I've also added the ability for us to set a registry key to say where the path should be, or in case we want to kind of play with that in the future. But we're just going to start with it next to the exe to start with. And if we have time, we'll play with configuring it with a reg key and things like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what does it do? It writes lines, a single line of text to a text file over and over. And to have something to demo, dev team also updated the console app that used to stop right here, where it would basically print out, hey, here's console app 1. What does it do now? Well, it goes and finds that same file, and it goes through a loop until a key is pressed, reading the file and printing it out to the text, to the screen, right? So we can run our console app, and it can show us whatever the service has been doing. So a nice way to kind of monitor the file that the service is doing without us having to go and double click and open that file every time.
Okay.
Cool. And it sleeps for every second. All right. So that's our new app. That's a quick tour. Let's go ahead and get it into the setup, which is the thing that we're most interested in. All right. First things first. What is the first thing we do every time we add a new project that we have to install, David?
What, besides making the new branch? And
we've done the branch. We need to make sure that we add a project reference to make sure that the build order happens and we get a reference to that project. Always. This is an easy thing to forget. You're like, yeah, I'm so excited to go write some code. Remember, add your project reference right at the top. All right. And now we need to add another set of, another file to install the Windows service. So let's go ahead and, wrong one. Right click on the project, say add new item. And, oh, good. This is cool. This is a new, do I like this experience? I don't know if I like this experience. What's it going to give me? Well, let's see what it gives me. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it Windows Service Components, right? That's what we call it. Console App Components, Windows Form App Components. So we're going to call this Windows Service Components, .wxs. And let's see what it gives us. I really don't know. It gave me a blank file. Do I like this experience? No, not really. I would have liked to have told me which template it was going to use. So I will go ahead. We haven't done this in a while, right?
Yeah, write it manually. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yes. WiX Toolset.org schemas v4 WXS. Ooh. For some reason that feels right. And now it doesn't know that it's XML. All right, let's close this file. Let's see if I double click it again. Does it open it? There we go. Now it does. That was really strange. There. Fragment. Oh, it's not HTTPS. I forgot. The schemas were done before that. There we go. Now, are we going to get IntelliSense? Yay, we have IntelliSense. All right. It's been a while since we have done this. Bob gives it a thumbs down. I think I give it a thumbs down, given that it didn't give me the anything that I wanted. All right. Windows Service Components. That's what I'm going to call it. And we're going to put it in the directory that we always use for all of our stuff, install folder, which is down underneath program files folder, right?
Right.
All right, there we go. Now, component groups contain components. That's all I have to do. Then I need save file. Source equals Windows Service 1.exe. You know, it's just kind of like relaxing typing this. I haven't done this in a while. Normally it gives me so much of this automatically. Okay, so now we should be able to install our file using this, right?
Right.
Like this is what we have to do, install our file. Oh, but always when we add a new component group, we need to go back to our package and add it to our collection of packages or of components to install.
Oh, right.
All right. So, oh, Martin's saying he's having a hard time seeing the video. Is anybody else having problems seeing the video? I don't know. Hopefully everything's just working. I I don't know. I think things seem to be working.
Yeah, I see the YouTube.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, everything seems to be going okay. I'm sorry, Martin. I hope maybe it's just internet. I don't know. Glitch there, somewhere between here and Denmark, right? That's where Martin is. All right. Continuing on. Hopefully everybody else can see this. Oh, I do see it kind of maybe glitching a little bit. Minor buffering a little bit. Looks fine here. All right. Cool. All right. So there we go. We now have this service and we could go install it and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Just a file. But it's not just a file. It needs to be installed as a service, which is requires an extra step, kind of like our console application. If you remember, we add an environment variable so we could run it. Well, a Windows service needs to be a service install. So we need a service install statement here. And there's a whole lot of things you can configure on a service. The big thing is we need to give it a name. And this is how the service control manager will be able to start and stop it. So we'll just call it, how about we call it Deployment Dojo Counting. All right.
Okay.
Great. We have Martin back. Okay. So, and then we're going to give a display name. So this is actually what you see if you look around at all the services. So we'll give this a prettier name, Deployment Dojo Counting Service. And I put that tilde in front, and you know why.
To keep it to the top.
Yeah, that's very, I will sort to the top. Makes it easier for our demo purposes. All right, and I think, is that all I need? I like that this will tell me. Oh, and I need to tell it what type it is. There are several different ways that you can install services. The one that you always want when you're in XE is own process, aka your service runs in its own process all by itself. And, start. I have to tell it when I want my service to start. I want it to start automatically. As soon as Windows starts up, I want this thing to start. And then I want my error control, because I know it wants that, to just be normal. If anything happens, just show me message box. Like, you could say critical. You can mark your service as critical and restart the operating system. I do not want that. If anything goes wrong with my service, I don't need it to be restarting. All right, so what have we done? We said, hey, this service install, Deployment Dojo Counting is the name of it, some display name that we'll see in a moment, and then own process, because it's an X, it runs by itself. It will auto start as soon as the operating system starts, it will start, and then error control is normal, so we will get an error message box. You could also say ignore, which means you don't get told at all when it doesn't work. But if this thing doesn't work, I'd like to at least get a message box during development. The next thing we can do is we can set the service control. And we're going to use the same name of the service. And what this will do is control when do we start it, when do we stop it, and when do we remove it from an installation point of view. Okay?
Okay.
So at start, we want to start it at install, uninstall, or both. Well, I only want to start it at install. Starting it at uninstall would be kind of weird since I'm installing the service. Starting it at uninstall when uninstalling would be very, very counterintuitive, right? But on stop, I want to stop it automatically on uninstall. That makes sense. I'm removing it. I want to stop it so I can remove it. And then remove, I want to remove it on uninstall.
Okay, so and not to drill it, and I know you've already said this, just to maybe the idea of the service control is a little foreign to me. Can you explain a little bit more about what exactly that does? Because it seems like you auto started the service in the service install. So what's the service control actually for?
So the service control is for during the installation itself. So when we're doing an install, we will start it. This auto start means that if you restart the computer, the service will automatically start when the operating system starts.
Okay, so this is install only type behavior, like only during the install or uninstall.
Yeah. So the service control happens during the execution of an install, uninstall, repair, all those kinds of things.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
And then remove on uninstall. And actually, this says I'm going to stop on uninstall. I want to stop on both. So if the service is already there, I will uninstall it. And Bob says that could be prettier. So I'm not going to lie, David. Let's drill into this a little bit since you brought it up. I'm glad you did. This is an example of something that we've been talking a bit in WiX 4 about how to make cleaner, how to make simpler. And these map directly to Windows installer statements, things the way the Windows installer thinks about manipulating services. And I think in WiX 5, this does not work, but in WiX 5, maybe we could create a service element. Yeah, it's going to give me that XML, whatever. That allows us to combine all of these together in a more declarative sort of way. All right.
Okay.
So in WiX 4, I'm hoping one day we look back at this video of the way that it said install services in WiX 4 and we come back and go, oh, wasn't that quaint? Remember how much we had to type? Well, now we have to type less in the future. So we have a whole lot of control here you can see about the way that, one, how is our service when it's installed, when it's placed on the machine, there's that, and then service control, what we're doing while the installation package is being installed and uninstalled.
Okay.
Here, what? You know what? I'm going to take the service control out. Okay? We're going to take service control out for now.
Okay.
Let's do this demo without the service control, just the service install. So what have we done? We said we have a service. We're going to name it this. We're going to display this nice pretty UI with a tilde, or name in the UI with a tilde in front of it. It's an exe. It'll start automatically if you restart the machine, and it will show an error message box, when the error happens. Okay?
Okay.
Let's go ahead and build this and bring it up in the sandbox, because the sandbox is going to, I think, show everything. Dojo.wsb. Is the build done? Yep. All right, here we go. Sandbox, come on up. All right, here we go. Start. Okay, so here's our usual places where we put things. And there's a new one for us to look at called services. See this here? You can just search for services and it will bring up the list of background services running on your computer today. And on Windows, there are a lot of them. All right. There's all these things running around in the background. And we're going to add another one to it. Belt test package, bin, x86, debug, enus, belt test package, install. All right. We got our new folder, right?
Right.
We have our package installed. That's great. And if we go into the deployment Dojo test, we will see we have our console app, our Windows form app, and our Windows Service 1 exe. Yay! Everything's there, right?
Right.
All looks good. And if we look in here and I refresh here, look, we have our deployment Dojo counting service shown up. Whoa, that name's really long. I know it's small. And you see its startup type is automatic.
Right.
All right. And if we look at it here, this shows us the path where we installed it to, Windows Service 1.exe. Way too small, I know, but there you go. Okay, cool. It's there. Is it running? Its status is blank. Nope. It's not running. So it did not get started for us automatically. If this was a normal computer and we restarted it, then we would be able to because it's a sandbox, we'd lose the service completely. So we can't really test the auto inside sandbox, that if we restart the computer, that would already be running for us. Because if we start the sandbox over, you're good. But let's go ahead and start the service so we can see it.
Okay.
And start the service. So a little thing, this is all part of the Windows UI there. And look, now we have this Windows Service 1. This is a text file. If I double click, opens a notepad. And there we can see running count. Let's make it bigger. There you go. 5, right? At that time spot. And if I double click on it again, look, it's up to 14 because it's basically adding another number every second. Okay. So this is great, right? It's running. Mm-hmm. We got it. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop the service. And if we look at the text file, make it big, it said, hey, look, we stopped on this count. All right. So we test our app. That looks good. Now, when we uninstall, yes, all of our files got uninstalled. No, wait, our text files left behind. Okay. And our service is still here. But if I then say start the service, I get a message box coming up saying, hey, could not start the service. The system cannot find the file specified, which is true. The exe is missing, and all that was left behind was our text file.
I see.
Okay.
And that's the purpose of the service control stuff to clean up. Okay.
Right. So I think I went too fast. This is where we should have stopped. All right. So we can see how this is all a problem, right? Mm-hmm. And now we have a mess. Right now I have the service stuck on the machine and it's not working. You're like, what do I do? It's okay, it's a sandbox. This is why we run in sandbox. No worries, no problems. Just go in a sandbox, clear it all out. Okay?
Right. Typical uninstall behavior by a lot of programs, right?
Well,
leaving stuff all over the place.
Definitely when you're getting when you're first getting used to it. All right. Name equals. Okay, so now we're going to control it. Now we want to do better than what we did that last time. All right. So I want to say remove. I want to remove it on uninstall.
Right.
So that alone should give us our removal behavior. And why is this not part of service install automatically? I think that's a fair question. That's something that we should probably do in the WiX language for you. Right?
Gotcha.
But today, to get it, you need 2 elements. Okay. Right. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to start it at install because we noticed that it was not running automatically, right?
Right.
And I'm going to stop it anytime it's present. Always stop the service. If it's there, go ahead and stop it. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and rebuild this MSI and go into it. All right, new one. Here we go. Let's bring back up our sandbox because we are definitely running this in a sandbox. We should edit our start script, shouldn't we? I should add the start services to it.
For the service, yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We haven't done that in a long time. Let's go ahead and do that. So up here, we have start appwiz.cpl. The services widget that I showed you can be launched from the command line as the services.msc. Services.msc? Actually, now I'm double. I think it's services.msc, but I'm gonna double check. So if I go into here and I type that thing and hit run,
yeah,
there it is. Services.msc. Cool. And you know what? We keep starting in Dojo, the Dojo folder, but then I always have to step into belt test package, bin. Why don't we just always open that part, right? I'm not sure I want to always do x86 and all that, but we'll just go into belt test package. There. Now, next time we open up, we'll have all those things open for us. All right, cool. Belt test package, debug, x-in-us. There's the package. Let's look and make sure. Yep, see, not installed, and the service is not here, and our folder does not exist. Cool. We're in a nice clean state. Right. Thank you, Sandbox, for cleaning all that out for us. Here we go. Belt test package. Installing. Our folder shows up. Our package shows up. By the way, did you notice that nice little pretty icon?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. And our service shows up. I hope. Refresh. There it is. And look, its status is now running. It's running because we told it to start during install. Deployment Dojo about test. And look, there's our text file already existing because the service is already running. And we're already up to count 24. Let's go ahead and start our console app. Make this guy bigger. And there it is. See, console app just reading.
Yep.
All that's good. Now, let's say we want to, hey, we haven't tried stopping the service and watching it. So let's go ahead, move this window over a little bit. Go ahead and say stop the Deployment Dojo County service. There it is. Stop count 46. Cool.
Cool.
All right. Now I'm going to delete this file just for kicks. Could not find the file, yada, yada, yada. All right, cool. So our little console app is working there. Now, the last issue that we had before was that this Deployment Dojo service was not being removed at uninstall, right?
Right.
So let's go ahead and uninstall. Uninstall. Yes, I would like to uninstall. Close. All right, that folder was removed because I manually deleted the file. And most importantly, Deployment Dojo is removed. The service is gone. So in this case, we've cleaned up pretty well. All right.
All right.
That looks better.
Yes.
Let's run it again. We're going to bring it back. Yeah. Okay. We're getting close to time. All right. Here. Refresh. Nope, not that one. Which one? Where's the refresh button? All right. Deployment's running. We go look. We have our console app. There we go. We could run our console app and we can see that it's counting. Okay.
Okay.
So what did it take to install this service? I'm going to let that run around in the background for me. took these two lines. Well, I guess this file that with the component group wrapped around it. All right, so service install, the name of the service. By the way, that name you can also control from the command line. Let's go ahead and open a command line. Make this bigger. There's a command in Windows called sc.exe. There's actually a couple ways to do it. And what I call it, deployment, Dojo, counting. Is that all I counted? Yeah, counting.
Yeah.
That name right there. I think it's stop. Okay, so you can see the exe running in the background, run the stop. I asked it to stop, and it did, and then we're done. Cool?
Cool.
So Miyuki asked, how does the service control know what files to delete? Well, the service control does not know what files to delete. All that this does is remove the registration related to this service. It does not remove the files. So what's getting removed is the file that we declared here, Windows service.exe. Let's go ahead. View, can I see, show file name extensions, please? There we go. Now we can see .text versus .exe, okay? All right. Oh, by the way, we can also do sc.exe start deployment dojo.counting, and it starts up again, starts over, start count, yada yada. Okay, so that's all. Start, stop a service, no big deal. So now let's go ahead and uninstall. All right. Before I move on, I want to talk about what Miyuki is knowing, which files to uninstall and those kinds of things. Does this make sense what we've done so far? We say install this file, just like we install all files. We said here is all the information about this particular service. It's its own process. I want you to start automatically, show an error message if it has any problems, show this name in the service control manager, and this is the actual name of the service if you were to use it from the command line.
Yeah, is there a description element in there too that puts a description on the service? Is that
description was added later in Windows, and therefore you have to use more advanced features to get the description, and it looks suspicious, or it looks suspect, doesn't it? That everybody else has a description and we don't, and that's a great thing. We can go and dig into that next time, or maybe next time. I don't know. Next time is RTM, so we'll see. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Another time.
Yeah, another time. Thank you. That's the answer. All right. And then we have the service control, which we found is very important to have. And that so that we could tell it, hey, remove it on uninstall, start on install, and then stop it on both cases, install and uninstall.
Yeah.
Interesting. This name here does not have to be the name of the service that's inside our own package. Service install. Wait, Bob says descriptions here. Did I forget it? Maybe it is here, and I just made all that up. I might have. Oops. See, can't even type now. Copy paste, Rob. Copy paste. All right. Well, maybe we'll do that in a minute too. I'm not. All right. Okay. I lied. Maybe it is as easy as that. Everything's still running. Okay. All right, let's set us up one more time. Close the sandbox. Let's reset everything.
Okay.
Because David, we forgot a very important step. Through all of this, what have we been using? We've been using RC3. Oh, what have I told everybody to do?
Yeah.
Upgrade to RC4.
Yeah.
And we forgot 2 weeks in a row. We forgot to upgrade to RC4. We've done all this tests.
We've been talked about it right before.
We did. Okay, so what do we have now? We're going to update to RC4, which means we're going to do this whole install with a whole new version of WiX 4, which basically just had a couple bug fixes in it. And we're going to add the description because Bob tells me that no, adding a description is actually very easy, and I forgot it, and I thought it was somewhere else. This is the next test we're going to do. All right, build again, please. And then I'm going to go bring the sandbox back. I can't tell you how much I love sandboxes because having services get stuck on your machine and having to deal with them is just, it's not fun. All right. Oh, hopefully we have a new start, so more things are going to open. Hey, look, the service is open for us. Woohoo! It worked. And we're in the right folder now. Look at that. Everything worked first time. That new start batch file was great, David. All right, bin, x86, debug, enus. What are we looking at? We are looking for our description to be set this time. Please wait. Does it? And I need to refresh. Oh, Bob's right.
It is.
I don't doubt Bob. I didn't really doubt Bob. That's just it. Anyway, so there you go. It is as easy as setting description. My bad.
Nice.
There are more advanced settings on the deployment service. If we look at this, you have these extra recovery options. We could talk about those in the future. It's all about error handling and services because they run quietly in the background, and some of them are very vital for systems that are working. There's lots of extra failure semantics that we could talk about in the future if we want to.
Okay.
All right. But I don't really want to talk about that because I want to go to a command prompt this time. And I want to make it bigger so everybody can see it. And I want to write console app 1. That's it, right?
Yep.
Console app 1. Woohoo, look at that. From the command line, started picking up the numbers, just counting from our service. We now have like several different pieces talking to each other. Okay?
Okay.
Like, this is great, right? Now, we have the deployment dojo. Here's our 3 systems, and we have this extra text file. Okay, so I'm going to set us up for next week because we're not going to do it this week. And I might set us up for 2 weeks because honestly, next week is all about the WiX 4 RTM if everything keeps going the way it looks like it will. So I don't know how much dojo studying we'll do. Maybe we'll just do like a dojo party or something like that. I do hope to be here. If the release is going well, we will be here for that hour. I want to leave you with some things to think about. So here we go in sparring. Okay. Here's the next set of problems. I'm now going to uninstall. Notice I'm leaving the console app 1 running. And so when I say package, there it is, uninstall. Do I want to install this? Yes, please. I get this pop-up says, hey, the following application should be closed while continuing the install. Console app 1. So it's telling us, hey, this app needs to be closed for us to be able to remove it because Windows will not let you necessarily, it can't delete a file that is running. Right. So it's telling you, hey, you need to close that. If you'd like us to automatically attempt to close it, we will be happy to do that for you. That's what this checkbox is. Otherwise, you can say do not close it, and then you'll have to restart the computer to actually get everything removed off your machine. I find with the Windows installer closing this for me, so let's go ahead and let it do so. Close, boom. It closed our app. Notice that we just came right back to this command prompt, so it stopped it for us, which is very nice. And we're just left with this text file here. So it did a nice job. It did close our exe for us, but we have this text file. So we have this deployment dojo belt test folder left over. And I'm pretty sure most people would consider that a bug.
Right.
This should not be left behind on uninstall. And that's what we'll take care of in the next episode because we're out of time here. We need to go ahead and get our code committed. Let's look at all the changes that we've made this time around. We have the dojo start. So this is all about adding the services, MSC, and then adding more a little bit friendlier things. So let's see. Add services MSC to dojo start.cmd. Commit. And then here's the work that we did. First thing we did was we added our project reference to Windows Service. That's the first thing we did. And then we created our service file, brand new file, which has our new WXS source file. So it has our reference to the Windows service to install it and the necessary configuration for service install and service control that we've been talking about all in this episode, right? And then the last step is we brought that Windows service components into the package to make sure that it was actually put into our MSI. Those 3 changes. So these were the changes necessary to actually install the service. Okay?
Yep.
Install Windows Service 1. Commit. All right. Good. Let's see. Which of these is push? Initiating push. There it goes. And create a pull request, please. All right. I'm over on another window. I'm trying to sign in real quick because GitHub has had a problem lately and it is no longer letting me stay signed in. I don't know why. And with my two-factor auth, I have to bring up my phone. Thank you. Thank you. All right, cool. There we go. All right, so this is episode 25. All right. Episode 25 at your service, installing with WiX v4. Yep. Create that pull request. And let's go ahead and make it a little bigger. And then down here, a build is happening. So I will enable auto merge, confirm auto merge, so that it will commit whenever it passes the build, assuming it does. And this build will include our brand new service and ready to go. And all of you will be able to go up and look at the builds and see the code and everything as soon as this build finishes. So you guys can catch up at the end. All right. Is there anything else, Dave, that we need to talk about? We actually did upgrade to WiX 4, RC4. We almost made it through the whole episode without doing that again.
Right.
By the way, did you notice how seamless that was? It was just like, oh, I just need to update to WiX 4. Boom.
Yep.
RC4.
Change the number.
Not just WiX 4, RC4. Just change that little number. Boom. I look forward to next week starting with the delete. So there's just 4.0 right there. Boom. That's my hope. By 12:30, we have at least some of it up. We'll see. Anything else, David? Other things to think about, look back at?
No. I think so. I think we covered it. The files, the directory sticking behind stuff. Definitely want to.
Yes, good.
Look at that eventually.
We definitely will need to look at that because that is poor form. And I think it was also good to kind of walk through this. This is an experience that Bob, who's the co-maintainer, one of the co-maintainers on the WiX Toolset, and I have done, is like walk you through Deployment Dojo. Sometimes we see things with fresh eyes, with your eyes, and we can see ways of improving the language. And I think this is an opportunity to improve the language in the future. But for WiX 4, this is what you do to install service.
Right.
All right.
Cool.
Next week is WiX 4 RTM. There's only 7 days left until then. 7 days until WiX v4. It's also the 19th anniversary of WiX being released as open source next week. So,
wow.
Yeah, I know, 19 years. Can you imagine?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, a minute. Plus, we've done 25 episodes already, which feels like I think next episode will be that half. That'll be half a year, roughly. We have done half a year's worth of episodes.
That's kind of weird to think, too.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, all of you, for showing up. If you're still here, give a thumbs up. If you're still here and you're watching this in the future, hey, leave a comment. Just say, hey, this was a good episode. If there are things that you'd like to see, I'd love to have more people dropping in that as you're watching this to let me know what you'd like to see next, because we're getting farther down these topics. I'm ending up with lots of different directions that we can go, lots of different things that we could discuss. And I saw you, Martin, ask about skip starting a service using a public property. That's definitely something we could look at doing. Other things you guys want to know about, if you're here, leave it in chat. If you come back later, leave a comment. And until then, I think you guys keep coding. We're going to get WiX 4 out. See you later. Bye.
See ya.